Hello everyone and welcome to another GTA discussion video. This is episode 40 of this series, and back in episode 30, which was about maybe 2 months ago now, I actually announced that there was going to be the return of the Broughy Verified series, which is basically where, for those of you who don't know, I take tracks from the community and verify them. And what I'm looking for is not sort of the same as what Rockstar's looking for. I'm looking for proper racing circuits that you would be able to have really high quality proper races on GTA in. So I announced that was coming back, and it's been a while since I've given you guys an update on that, and people keep asking about it, so I figured I might as well make a video to explain it in detail. It is a very, very long process of what goes on behind the scenes to bring these tracks to you guys and make sure that they're all top-notch quality. So I'm going to be talking about that and explaining the process and where I'm currently at with that process, and maybe try and give a bit of an estimate on how long it's going to be before we get them. Now, before I do all that, I just want to point out the footage that you're watching on the screen is technically the very first Broughy Verified playlist for new gen. Now, this isn't part of what I will be considering the main Broughy Verified playlist series. Those will be entitled, all those playlists will be entitled Broughy Verified 1, Broughy Verified 2, Broughy Verified 3. That's what those playlists are going to be. This is kind of a spin-off playlist. It's called Broughy Verified Fun. And I've wanted to do this for a while, and I figured it's a perfect opportunity to bring this to you guys now, whilst I'm updating you on the main series, and just to give you something to sort of play beyond the regular stuff, and whilst you're waiting for the regular stuff as well. Now, the problem with this is that it's only on PS4. You know, it's too much to really ask people to recreate these on Xbox One and PC, because they are just sort of spin-off fun races, and some of them can be quite difficult to recreate as well. But it is only on PS4 at the moment, apart from my tracks that are at the very start and very end of the playlist. But a lot of the tracks in here you'll probably recognise from videos that I've already done, and they are tracks that would never ever be in the regular Broughy Verified series. You know, they've got crossovers, head-on collision areas, jumps, you know, things like that you would never ever normally see in the regular Broughy Verified stuff, because they aren't proper races in terms of what I'm looking for that series. But they are very, very well made, all of them, and they just serve a completely different purpose. They're more about having fun. There is a competitive edge to them, you know, you can have a competitive race on them, but they're more about having fun rather than going completely sort of hardcore mode and really racing competitively. So that's what the collection of tracks that you'll see here. Again, you will have seen a few of them before on previous videos, but for those of you who are on PS4 and want to play these races and play this playlist, all of the links will be in the description. There'll be a link to the actual playlist itself, the Broughy Verified Fun playlist, and then there'll be links to the individual tracks as well. So great job to all of the people who have tracks in this playlist. You've done an absolutely great job making some very, very different style of races, and I think this could be something that I sort of do as the Broughy Verified series goes on, you know, in terms of rally races, maybe a Broughy Verified rally playlist, or a sort of a short track playlist for sort of micro circuits, things like that. There's all sorts of different spin-offs I could do, and I would quite like to do that, but yeah, I've got this out there now, so now it's time to sort of focus on the main Broughy Verified series and the Broughy Verified tracks. So how far are we into that? Well, I'll just talk a little bit about how this was all done. So basically I asked you guys to submit your circuits to the Broughy Verified series, and the idea of the main series is that all of the tracks that I end up choosing, it doesn't matter whether they're on Xbox One, PC or PS4, they are all going to be recreated on all of the other consoles, so all of the other platforms. So the main Broughy Verified playlists will be exactly the same on all three of the new gen platforms, and that's sort of the new gen experience of these Broughy Verified playlists, and I really wanted to sort of make sure we had the best selection of circuits in there. Now that's proved to be very, very difficult to ensure, but initially there were about well, I would say over 300 track submissions that we had to go through. So, you know, before we even got to sort of what I'm calling stage 1, you guys submitted more than 300 racing circuits. That is a lot. Now, stage 1 of this process was basically I had a team of people all helping me with this, and thank you very much to you guys on all platforms, who basically went through all of those circuits and got rid of the ones that didn't adhere to the conditions that I set out for this series. You know, there were very strict restrictions on the tracks that I wanted for this series. You know, they were meant to be proper racing circuits, no crossovers, no jumps, no off-road sections, you know, things like that. And there were quite a lot of tracks, I would say maybe around 100 tracks out of that initial more than maybe 350 that sort of didn't adhere to those conditions at all. So I don't know whether people just didn't get the idea of the whole series and just sort of uploaded anything, you know, just submitted anything. You know, you never know what people are thinking, but yeah, there were certainly a lot of tracks that just did not adhere to the conditions that I'd set out in the first place for this series, and just basically didn't get the idea behind the series in the first place. So that got rid of quite a few tracks, but that still left sort of around 200 circuits that were, let's say, eligible for thought about whether they should go into this series. So then what those guys did, who were helping me out, is that they made videos for each of the tracks. So just a sort of a one-lap video for all of the tracks, just so I could then watch those videos without having to spend the time of actually loading up every single job. You know, 200 jobs is a lot of jobs to go on. I would be able to, and this is what I would call stage 2 of the process. I would look at all of the videos of all of these circuits and basically promote to stage 3 what I thought was reasonably okay. I was very sort of lax about that one at the time. You know, I thought I'd rather put something through that I wasn't necessarily sure about rather than leave it out, just because then I would be able to get a better impression when I actually raced them myself. So at that point we had around 100 circuits taken out of the standings at stage 2. So from the original maybe 350 circuits, we lost 100 at stage 1 because they just didn't fit the criteria. We lost another 100 at stage 2 when I looked at all the videos of all of them, because, you know, for various reasons they just weren't up to the standard that I was looking for or whatever. And then stage 3 was the case of me actually loading up the game, loading up all these jobs and giving them a try for myself. And like I said, you know, this was well over 100 circuits that I needed to test. Stage 3 was basically about me doing a single lap or 2 laps in each of them, just to get an idea of what the track is like, and then I would promote to stage 4 those that I thought had a chance of making it into the final playlist. Now, it's very difficult to explain how time consuming this is, you know, going through all of these circuits. It's a lot of tracks, and it's also difficult to put into words kind of how I had to choose between circuits to include, because sometimes I had to be, I would say, not in the early stages, you know, the stage 3, stage 4 stages, I didn't really have to be harsh, but the sort of quality of circuits just increased so much throughout the course of doing this series, in terms of what I was actually looking for. You know, some circuits made it through from stage 3. I would say from stage 3, I would say that from the 100 circuits, I think it was maybe 75 made it through to stage 4. So stage 4 is where I basically went through them in a lot more detail with a lot more laps, and you know, there were still a lot of tracks in contention at that stage. But when I got to that point, when I got to basically stage 4, that was when it really hit me that some of the tracks that I'd put through from stage 3 really didn't sort of meet the standard that some of the other tracks I had. So initially, yes, you know, there's all of these verified tracks, all of these tracks that were submitted to be verified are very good tracks in their own right, but it's only when you sort of put them next to a very, very, very good track, for example, is that you really see sort of the differences between them. And that's what I experienced when it got to when it got to this stage 4 and trying to figure out what I wanted to put to stage 5, which would ultimately be very close to the final list of tracks. And by the time I got to that point, I actually think it was only maybe 60 tracks that made it to stage 4. And then when I went through them all again with a lot more detail, only around 30 circuits made it through to stage 5. Now that's the stage that I'm at right now. I'm at stage 5 where I've got around 30 to 35 circuits lined up, all very, very good. Some of them may need a few slight improvements or a few slight things that may need changing, but ultimately, all of these circuits that I've got at this point are extremely high quality, very, very high quality for GTA racing circuits. There are a lot of very, very good tracks out there, so if your track doesn't make it, I'm not saying that it's a bad track, but there are very, very few extremely high quality tracks that basically ultimately what it comes down to is how pure of a racing experience you can have on some of these tracks, and that's ultimately where I was at with this stage 4 to stage 5 process. Some of them are very well made, but some of the prop usage and prop choices don't lead to a sort of a very pure experience, despite the sort of the layout and the placement of the props being okay. So it was very, very difficult. There were a lot of very difficult decisions that I had to make, and there are still a lot of difficult decisions that I've still got to make based on some of the just sort of narrowing it down to the very final selection of circuits for these playlists. So I'll apologise in advance to anybody who doesn't become verified, but considering there were over 300 circuits initially submitted and only 30 of them have made it through to this sort of final stage, the chances aren't that great anyway. There's only 10% of circuits that actually made it through, so it's going to be sort of very interesting to see what actually you guys think about these final selection of circuits. I would say they are, in my personal opinion, they are all extremely high quality, but it's up to you guys to decide. And again, this series is all about finding proper racing circuits that you can have a really competitive racing experience on GTA on. That's why I've done this spin-off series for fun tracks, things like that. I may do a spin-off series for rally tracks, that kind of stuff, because I have a very narrow idea of exactly what I need for these circuits. So ultimately, I think at the moment, the way that we're going to be seeing it is that there are going to be about 5 playlists. Broughy Verified 1 through to Broughy Verified 5. They're going to be exactly the same on PC, PS4 and Xbox One. All will have exactly the same tracks recreated perfectly, and I've the team of people who helped me all the way back in stage 1 to get rid of sort of the tracks that just didn't adhere to the restrictions that I put out. They are going to help me. They've said they'll help me, so they'll help me recreate the tracks on different platforms. So it's going to be really great when that is finally done, but it's still quite a while away. I'm still at that, as I've said, I'm at stage 5 where I'm trying to nail down the very final selection of tracks, get them all absolutely perfect until and get the playlists all in the right order and where I want the tracks to fit in the playlist to give it the right feel. It's not just about sort of bunging the tracks into a playlist in any order. They've all got to have a good balance to them. So that's where I'm at right now, but there's also the idea that I've got to get them all recreated as well, and that's going to take some time. So you're looking at maybe another month or two before you see the very first playlist, and hopefully once that initial playlist is done, you should see the other subsequent 4 playlists pretty quickly beyond that. So yeah, I figured I would just give you guys an update, explain how this has all gone, explain what state the Broughy Verified series is in at the moment, and also take this opportunity to introduce you guys to what is essentially the first Broughy Verified playlist on New Gen, which is the Broughy Verified Fun playlist. Again, all of those links are in the description. Let me know all your thoughts down below. Are you eagerly anticipating this Broughy Verified series? I know I am. It's going to be very interesting to see what you guys think of all these tracks, and it would be really nice to have some proper racing circuits to sort of get back into it. and a reasonably small selection as well of the highest quality tracks that everybody can start learning and everybody can start really, you know, getting good at, and make it your sort of standard racing circuits to use on a night of GTA racing. So thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it. I hope you've this update has been okay for you guys. I know people keep asking me, but this is the best that I can do, and the next that you'll hear about it is when the first playlist arrives. So thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.